Hello, everybody. I feel so much better about the St. Louis Blues season as Robert Thomas is the guy that is on my mind. And this is all coming up here on Locked On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to Locked On Blues. I am your host, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you all things St. Louis Blues. So I have to say, in yesterday's episode, I did report on Torrey Krug being injured, which is something obviously that is not good. It's something that does draw for concern. But I am feeling better today about the St. Louis Blues because of one person, and that is Mr. Robert Thomas. And besides talking about Robert Thomas, I'm going to give you my training camp expectations and, of course, Blues History Minute of the day. I cannot believe that this offseason on Locked On Blues is almost to an end, and next week will be regular full NHL 5 days a week content. I can't believe it. It's honestly so exciting. It's like Christmas Day, if that makes sense. I just love talking all things St. Louis Blues. So for me, this is really exciting. Before we get into today's episode, I do want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Jase Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jase case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50 plus infections. Get yours today at jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. Robert Thomas. Okay. So why am I freaking out over Robert Thomas once again? Well, that is because Mr. Robert Thomas decided to amaze me. He decided to amaze me in all of St. Louis with having already a mid-season flow. I'm going to show you a picture if you're on YouTube. Look at that flow. Now, besides that picture of Robert Thomas that has me excited, I did say future captain because I do see him one day being the future captain of the St. Louis Blues. But that picture to me, honestly, as stupid as it sounds, it just reminded me that this guy is so serious. He has that serious face, and that is who Robert Thomas is. He is not only a serious player, he is a competitor on the ice. I expect him to have a good season. I do not expect anything less. And I think having high expectations is a good thing. I think that it would be stupid and silly to not expect a lot out of a guy that is going to be an all-star. Now, the reason why I'm focusing on Robert Thomas is because he is a guy that has a lot. I don't want to just say potential. I think that he is a guy that brings a lot to the St. Louis Blues. And obviously, when it comes to Robert Thomas, he really does carry this team in quite a way. So the 24-year-old, it's crazy. Him and I are the same age, but he does look a lot older than I do, which is kind of funny. But Robert Thomas last season, as I said, had 47 assists. The season prior, he had 57 assists. Now, the thing about Robert Thomas that's interesting, the season prior, he did have 20 goals. This past season, he had 18. So he has stayed consistent with the fact that he's not a huge goal scorer. But when it comes to the assists and the plays that he makes, that's what makes him so valuable, is that he's able to look down the ice and he's able to tell what kind of plays he needs to make, the passes, and boom, magic happens. And some can argue that assists are just as important as goals. Obviously, the goals get you the points and the goals get you value, right? But assists set that up. So one thing that I want to see out of Robert Thomas this upcoming season is maybe he can be that guy to take that shot on net. I did notice that sometimes he's a little bit hesitant, and that does concern me only for the fact that he has the swagger and confidence when he's going up the ice. And I'm like, take that same energy and use it to shoot on net. Now, I'm not going to say that I would be upset if he got a lot of assists and not as many goals because he is so valuable. He is so good at setting up the puck and drawing those plays. But it would also be nice to see him a little bit out of his comfort zone, some might say, and taking more shots on goal. And I'm not the only one that thinks that. I think that was a common theme after last season of wanting to see that out of Thomas. But at the end of the day, this is a player that really is strong on the ice. He is so talented. I mean, he's already a Stanley Cup champion, right? Because he was with the Blues when they won the Cup in 2018, 2019. So he already has that winner's mentality, you can say. So it definitely wouldn't hurt to see more out of him. But if there was any player that I know can do it, it is 100% Robert Thomas. And I think the more we talk about it on Locked On Blues and the more, especially me, just it makes me feel better about this season knowing that there are guys like him. But I guess, and okay. The Blues really utilize him, right? Top center. Everybody knows that it's the Robert Thomas show. But when it comes to his future, the one thing that people ask a lot is captaincy. And they associate that a lot with Thomas, which I understand. It's a very obvious thing. Because with Braden Shen too, people are saying it's Shen, it's Thomas, and it's kind of like not focusing on the important things, which is his play. So I'm hoping that this whole captaincy situation comes to an end. I mean, he was already the assistant. He already has that A. So if it's another year of the A, fine. If he has the C, good for him. But at this point, I am so ready just to focus on the season. But he will be the future captain one day. I don't know if it's going to be this season. It might be next season. It could be in 2 seasons. I don't know. I'm not the one that makes the decision. Had to go for a water break. But what I do know is this, St. Louis. He is here to stay. He was drafted as a Blues player. He's going to retire as a Blue. He is what St. Louis is all about. So I like also how he is under Berube. And I don't know if I've ever mentioned that, but I actually think Thomas responds really well to whenever Berube has anything that he needs to say or critiques about his style of play. And the development that I've seen through Thomas throughout the years of being a St. Louis Blue has been absolutely phenomenal. I think that he is a prime example of how to correctly develop a player. So I think overall, I am excited about Robert Thomas yet again. And he is, I don't want to say a glimmer of hope because that makes it just sound like the team's not good. But he gives me excitement about the Blues' future because I can just see it now. You know, Dvorsky, when he's ready to come up. Oh my gosh. Can you believe the fact how well the Blues did in this draft? But this is the thing. I mean, Thomas was the guy that they drafted. And look at him now. So ideally, when you look at St. Louis and on Twitter, I wouldn't give his name. Zach Cancela. He put out ideal opening night lineups, and I want to just mention this. He has Thomas obviously in the center, and then the wingers on the right, Vrana, and then on the left, Bushkanev. I always like to joke around, but Bush. And then he has Shen and obviously center, and then Cairo, and then Blay. And then he has Hazy, Kapanen, and Sad. And then he has Sunquist and Torapchenko and Neighbors. And then on D, he had Letty Pareko, Perunchev. Why do I always screw up names? I always call them by their nicknames. And when I have to say their full names, I butcher them. I know. Peronich, and then Folk, and then Tucker, and then Bortzu. Oh my God, Bortzu. I always frick it up. Mm. And then Bitternet. Now, I like that, and I'm only commenting because I just opened Twitter because I was going to pull something up. And I wanted to say one thing. I don't know if I see Belay on the second line, by the way. Maybe I would switch Sad with Belay and have Sammy Belay on Hazy's line. Other than that, I like it. All right. I really messed up. Don't come at me. I mess up names all the time. It's just because I get in my head. Like, I just ignore me. Well, don't ignore me, but alrighty. Jase Medical. So the Jase case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use. And all it takes to get a Jase case is to fill out a simple online form. And then in some cases, just jump on a quick call with one of our board-certified physicians. And the nice thing about the Jase case is that you won't ever be unprepared. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. And the Jase case handles everything from online evaluation to a licensed pharmacy, medication delivery, and ongoing consulting and care. So, this is what I want you to do because this is important. Your health is important. It's just filling out a form online, and you can get life-saving antibiotics. You will save more than $360 by getting these life-saving antibiotics with Jase Medical Plus, and an additional 20 off by using my code locked on at checkout on jasemedical.com. Again, that's JASE medical.com. So super easy. Take care of your health. You know what to do. Okay. Training camp expectations. Obviously, with training camp, I expect a few things. Number one, I expect to see good effort without injury. This is the one thing about training camp that always makes me a little bit nervous is that there is always that fear of a player getting injured prematurely to the season. We already saw that with Torrey Krug. So obviously, hopefully that's the only one. And I that's not a good thing that he's injured, by the way. I'm just saying, like, I hope that's the only injury. But I expect effort. I expect them to play like scrimmages. I expect them just to be a team. I want them to have chemistry. So one thing that I'm expecting to see is a bunch of guys who are motivated, excited to be with each other, and practicing like it means something. Obviously, I've already shown you the picture yesterday of Kevin Hayes on the ice, which was really nice to see him in the blue note. Yeah. But I just want this team to have fun with it. I want this team to embrace all of the challenges. Training camp is about getting all the kinks, getting all the things that are not so good out of the way. And this is an opportunity for some of these players to really work on what needs to be done. And listen, I'm not saying that training camp is the fix-all solution because it is 100% not. But what I can say is that training camp is an opportunity for these players to just go for it without having that pressure of losing points or it being like a game day mode. And then you have preseason, so you do have time to work on what needs to be done. Training camp is one of those things where it really needs to be taken extremely, extremely seriously. I think that in years past, people look at training camp and they're just like, okay, whatever, it's just training camp, not a big deal. But This is the problem. The Blues have so much to work on as a team now that it's not going to be enough time until the season. And I'm hoping that all these guys put in the work from the offseason. And that's where I was getting at, being nice. I'm just going to be blunt. I hope they worked out. I hope they were healthy. I hope that they trained and I hope they watched tape. I hope they did all that they needed to do to prepare for the season ahead, because the reality is training camp is not enough time to get you in full swing for the regular season. It is a time to obviously improve, to develop. But, with opening night being early, middle-ish October, it is not enough time. And of course, I get concerned when I think about the St. Louis Blues with how they've performed this past season and about the fact that the team hasn't really made that many significant moves. It does concern me greatly. So at this training camp, I do have expectations that these players will work hard, that they will do their all. And I just need effort, okay? I am not asking the St. Louis Blues to come on the ice during training camp and to be in game day mode, but I am wanting to see that effort, and that is what is most important to me. I think at the end of the day, when it comes to the St. Louis Blues, everybody just wants the best. Everybody just wants them to have a happy season, a good season, an improved season. And I think from training camp, I will be upset. I will be really angry if I'm seeing sloppy mistakes on drills consecutively. I'm not saying once in a blue moon or getting something worked on, but if I'm seeing something and I'm like, okay, obviously this guy didn't train that much over the summer, I will be annoyed. But I am projecting my upsetness about last season onto this, and I don't want to do that. This is an opportunity to start fresh. You have a blank page, start fresh, get it done. Oh, breaking news from the St. Louis Blues. That rhymed. Just now, welcome to the team, Marquess Knox. We're excited to collaborate with the St. Louis native award-winning blues musician this season, including a live performance of his new team anthem at the home opener. I thought they just signed a player, to be honest, and I was like, and I didn't read it all the way. Oh, Nick Ritchie has joined the team on a professional tryout. Now, that is some breaking news, too. Wow, the Blues just like to tweet as soon as I'm doing my episode because I always have my Blues notifications on. So today, Dougie A announced that the team has signed forward Nick Ritchie to a professional tryout. So he's 27, split last season between the Yotes and the Flames, recording 26 points, 13 goals, and 13 assists, and 53 penalty minutes in 74 regular season games overall. He was actually drafted in the first round, 10th overall in 2014 by the Ducks. Okay, so this is actually a positive. Okay, look what the Blues are doing. He may not be, jaw dropping. He may not be a player that you're like, oh my gosh, this is life changing. He may not be that way, but this is a player that can definitely bring some energy, and it's definitely not bad stats. I mean, I've seen a lot worse, and they've sometimes been from guys from our team. So, good job, Blues. Love to see it. Okay. Before I do Blues History Minute of the Day, I just want to let you know that you can go follow Locked On Blues on Twitter at Locked On Blues. You can follow me at Haley T. Simon. And if you're watching on YouTube, hello, make sure you subscribe. My everydayers, make sure you leave some comments. And I always do. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I almost you ever just mean to do something and then you're just like, what is happening? That was me just now. I am going because I always like to read my comments or my everydayers. And if you don't know what an everydayer is, it's all of you folks that comment on my videos, give me your thoughts and feedback. And I absolutely love this. It's a great way for you and I to hang out, to have a chat. and to really get to know each other. So this is from Flink. Realistically, I think Folk would be the best leader, but I like to see Shen mentor Thomas as the captain and Blues go captainless to start the season. Interesting. For the money, he is making Cairo and okay, so Jordan Cairo playing better. Yeah, well, I knew that. So that was a good thing. I think that this is important though in discussion is Shen would be such a good mentor to Thomas. And I like Justin Folk, and it's nothing against him. And if Folk gets it, he is deserving as well. I feel bad because I feel like he's the one that I've talked about the least. And it's not that he's ruled out. I just don't see it being him, but I do love Justin Folk. So, of course, I'd be happy for Justin Folk, but I'm also just like super realistic and just going to be honest. Okay. So, this is from Bob, Bill, and Barclay, the Plaguers. Oh, this is so cool. From a newspaper. It's a hockey hat. It's a little cartoon. So I don't know if you can see it on YouTube. Oh, that's so cool. So this is the Vancouver Canucks program against the St. Louis Blues from the year 1972. That is awesome. Obviously, when it comes to all things, Blues throwbacks, I love that. So I had to share that, of course. All right, tomorrow's episode will be a fun one because I will be doing my first game preview as it is showcase time. Oh, I am so excited for this. Again, I always appreciate your support, you watching this podcast, and I love talking to you all things St. Louis Blues. And with that being said, let's go Blues.